The difference between the Universal GAHd and God. Who or what is the Universal GAHd universe? It is what you see when you look up into the night sky. It is the millions of stars and the reason you see everything that is on earth. It is forever growing. GAHd is the breath of life from a child. Ah! It is the sound you make when giving up the soul. Ah! God, JesAHs, Jah, JehovAH, KrishnAH, Messiah, AHmun, Ra, Judah. It is the all. The Universal GAHd is both male and female. Who or what is God? God is a mortal imaged male, the icon of man and white supremacy. Bottom line, God is all the evils of man, temptation, vengefulness, yet loving to draw the masses, the narcissist of the world. His physical form is combined into a simple piece of literature, a book. This is why one states, the Bible tells us. God is not responsible for earthquakes, floods, or the sun rising, though his followers are taught that he is when they are a very young age, like fairy tales. One thing that can definitely be tied to God is wars and many other negatives caused by mankind. Some goods are tied to God, but it is not God, it is the manifestation of one's own faith. The kingdom of heaven is within, as stated by the last Christ. God is not like that you say. Some's God may not be that way, but that is only if they are not confined by the book. For if you are confined by the book, the Bible, you must obey every law within it. So if your God is loving, you can still piss him off to make him vengeful. Thus, this is why his followers fear him. Again, these God acts that one gives credit to are simply their own positive manifestation. These are my truths. Nature and the Universal GAHd. Comparison. Nature is nature. In the beginning, there was stardust, and that stardust turned into who we are today. It is like the fruit fly that appears out of simply nowhere. The organism that appears in the water, out of nowhere, is the human dolphin. Over time, the Universal GAHd can explain every grain of sand in the story of this planet. It may take a few million years for you to hear the story, but it can explain it to you, even show you. The followers of God are simply told about the story of Earth. In the beginning, God said, "Let there be light," and it turned on. But how did it turn on? They are told that God wanted creatures here, so bam, creatures. But how were they made? And why does the spider strategically kill the fly when the fly was simply created to keep the earth clean? They are told, "Do not question God, for only he knows why." These are my truths. Can I explain how these creatures got here? Well, yes, I can. But once I explain it to you, would you believe me? Or would you recite a verse from the Bible about fools? Death and the Universal GAHd. Comparison. A religious loved one dies, and the young child does not understand why his mother was murdered. But he is told it was God's plan. Now the child grows up rebellious against God, against a book. He takes his wrath out on evil men, or men, period. A child who is taught about the Universal GAHd's mother is murdered. He already knows that men can develop mental illnesses. In most cases, the murderer has a religious background. Coincidence or truth? You can do this research yourself. But yes, of course, the young boy could grow up to murder religious men. But instead, he grows up to lead people away from religion so that the next child does not grow up to start wars, to kill. Children of the Universal have a great understanding of this world. They are not simply taught because God says so. How does the Universal GAHd perform miracles? Simply by the reality that there are no miracles. All is meant to happen to you. If you live a life of Christ consciousness, you shall receive rewards of a Christ. If you live life differently, you will receive that life, whatever you deserve. The Universal God lets one believe that we all can have a spectacular moment in our lives without depending on a man-made entity or feel we have to join his church or religion in order to receive that greatness in life. The conclusion: the Universal God is exactly what it is. Universal. It is for everyone. Yet it is alive, it breathes, eats, and grows. It is what leads us to Christ consciousness. Under the universal laws, you can love Muslims, you can love Christians, you can love pork, you can love just about anything. You can even eventually love the evil entity that needs love. The Christ was not a Christian. Let this be known up front that the last Christ was not a Christian. Christianity was started by Constantine 312-324 AC in the name of controlling the masses of man. The true Enlightenment movement was started by Mary of Magdala much earlier, but that was not a belief of controlled faith. To be a Christ is not to be a Christian, it is to be enlightened, in which Lucifer was apparently the first human to become enlightened. For me personally, I follow the laws of the universe. I trust the universe. It is always honest with me. I can tell it that I love it all I want, but that does not mean I will not drown if I jump off a boat without knowing how to swim. The Universal God answers my wants, maybe not in a time I would like, but it does answer what I want when it feels I am ready. It is both male and female. Sometimes I need to speak with my Heavenly Father, but also sometimes I need to speak with my Heavenly Mother. It is both. It is always there, through consciousness, through the physical plane of this world, and will be there when I pass. For you personally, as believers in God, just always make sure you carry a good heart. No matter what happens, represent your God well, because there are millions of followers doing evil acts in the name of the exact same paper God you are worshipping. And with this truth, it may be time to ask yourself if you are even following the right belief system.